Welcome to Xiao Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 200, Xiao Yan's group followed Yi Zhang for around half an hour before they finally descended. They had come to a region to the south. There was a somewhat spacious courtyard located where Xiao Yan's group descended. However, this courtyard was clearly a little old and damaged. From the looks of it, there had not been anyone living here for many years. A wooden plaque was located at the front of the courtyard. There were two vague characters still identifiable on it. Yi Manor. This is a property of my Yi clan. However, with the decline of the Yi clan, there is no longer anyone cleaning this place. Still, it is not a bad location to temporarily rest. Yi Zhang turned his head and spoke to Xiao Yan's group after looking over the courtyard. Xiao Yan's group naturally did not have any requirements about where they stay. Moreover, this Yi Manor might appear a little old and damaged, but it was superior in terms of being quiet. Although there was still quite a great amount of traffic around, it was quite remote when compared to other places. It is fine if there is no problem. It is already getting late. Everyone should rest first. There are still important matters to do tomorrow. Along with the flow of time, night slowly began to scatter down from the sky, wrapping the entire Holy Pill City within a blurry night. Xiao Yan stood with his hands behind his back in a small yard within the Yi Manor. He raised his head and looked to the bright stars. It was a long while later before he slightly frowned. I have not sensed even a little ripple related to the 3,000 burning flame ever since I entered the Holy Pill City. It is likely being sealed or hidden by the experts from the Pill Tower. Xiao Yan mused for a moment before turning his gaze to the obscure starry sky of the inner region in Holy Pill City. The 3,000 burning flame was formed within the stars. It would remain in the distant sky when it was created. If Xiao Yan had guessed correctly, the 3,000 burning flame should be in the starry sky of the Holy Pill City inner region. The skills of the Pill Tower are really secretive. Looks like I can only take the proper route. Xiao Yan softly sighed in his heart. He was just about to turn around and return to his room when his ears moved. He turned his head and looked at the door to the yard. The little fairy doctor was quietly standing there in a white-colored dress. The moonlight from the sky diffused down and landed on her body. She appeared just like silver yarn with an additional alluring enchantment. Have you not gone to rest? Xiao Yan was startled when he saw the little fairy doctor. He then smiled and asked, Xuan'er instructed me to protect you properly before she left. How can I stop working before you rest? The little fairy doctor replied with a sweet grin. Xiao Yan could not resist laughing upon hearing the little fairy doctor's saucy words. She had undoubtedly become a lot more cheerful after having resolved the issue of the woeful poison body. There should not be any problem with your woeful poison body, is there? Xiao Yan studied the little fairy doctor, who was slowly stepping through the moonlight, before he asked in a concerned manner. It should be fine. Currently there is a thumb-sized poison dan within my body. All of the woeful poison chi within my body is suppressed within it. The current me is able to completely control it. The little fairy doctor thought for a moment before replying. That's good. I can only help you until this point. You can only rely on yourself and what you wish to do in the future. However, the woeful poison body is not an ordinary constitution. Moreover, there has never been anyone who could completely control the woeful poison body in the past. Hence, I do not know how refining a poison dan will impact you in the future. Xiao Yan nodded as he responded. The little fairy doctor slightly smiled. She turned her eyes and suddenly asked, Have you told Xuan'er about the matter regarding Kai Lin? Xiao Yan was stunned upon hearing this. He immediately felt a little embarrassed as he shook his head with a bitter smile. The matter regarding Kai Lin was merely an encounter that was filled with lust. After that incident, Xiao Yan had gradually gained a greater understanding of this woman through their encounter. He had to admit that he had begun to feel a complicated feeling for this cold but alluring Queen Medusa. This was especially the case regarding Kai Lin, suspected of being pregnant. It had been a number of years since Xiao Yan had left the Jia Ma Empire. If Kai Lin was really pregnant, based on the rules of the Snake People race's pregnancy, currently, it was likely that the little Xiao Yan had already been born. Xiao Yan's heart once again felt an extremely complicated feeling upon thinking about this. He appeared happy but distressed. Various emotions gathered together, appearing as though the bottles of 5 tastes had broken. One would be unable to differentiate the sourness, sweetness, bitterness, spiciness. When the boat gets to the bridge, there will be a way. When I see Xuan'er next, I'll tell her those things. Xiao Yan shook his head. He calmed his own emotions and sighed. There are some things that I will naturally not be able to continue hiding. It is not rare for a man to have multiple wives and concubines on the Doqi continent. I think that Xuan will not mind. The little fairy doctor comforted upon seeing Xiao Yan's worry. Xiao Yan could only bitterly smile and nod in the face of the little fairy doctor's comfort. Xuan was not an ordinary girl. She definitely possessed a position within the Jiyu clan that other people had difficulty imagining. Otherwise, two elite Dozuns would not be protecting her all the time. Even if Xuan were to agree when the time came, it was likely that the Jiyu clan would use this as an excuse to hinder them. The little fairy doctor changed the conversation topic after seeing that Xiao Yan had no intention of speaking more about this matter. The two of them sat down on the stone stairs in front of a room, raised their heads, and studied the endless starry sky. It has been many years since we have watched the night sky together. However, the night sky in that little valley near Qingshan town is still more beautiful. After softly chatting for a long while, the little fairy doctor leaned her lovely body gently against a stone pier by the side. Her eyes were slowly shut as she softly muttered. She had actually fallen asleep. Xiao Yan was slightly startled. He turned his head to look at the pretty face that was filled with warmth. Back then, they had been striving to their own targets. Currently, they had reached a height that they would never have dared imagine back then. I will accompany you to watch the night sky there once we return to the Jia Ma Empire. The little fairy doctor's pretty face slowly became more gentle, like she had heard Xiao Yan's soft voice. Xiao Yan took out a large, black robe from his storage ring. He gently used it to cover the little fairy doctor's delicate body. He also slowly got up and took 2 steps forward. Raising his head, he looked to the bright starry sky. While he focused intently on the sky, he suddenly discovered something. When compared to the other night sky, this night sky of the Holy Pill City seemed to be filled with spirituality. Xiao Yan knit his brows. He placed both of his hands behind him as he quietly stood under the vast and endless starry sky. Xiao Yan had stood for nearly 2 hours. During these 2 hours, his body remained unmoving, appearing like a statue. Both of his eyes watched the flickering stars in the sky. This posture of his had just reached the 3rd hour mark when the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth was suddenly lifted into a slight arc. He slowly shut his eyes. Xiao Yan's spiritual strength spread out from between his eyebrows like floodwaters the moment he shut his eyes. His majestic spiritual strength unfurled. After which, it reached into the bright starry sky. The spiritual strength unrolled in the sky like a wave of water. That unusual feeling of being filled with spirituality had accompanied his spreading spiritual strength. It quietly inscribed a vague imprint on Xiao Yan's widespread spiritual strength like a mysterious, searing seal. Xiao Yan, who had his eyes shut, did not discover that his completely still body had begun to emit a weak fluorescent glow at this moment. This kind of fluorescent glow was extremely mysterious. One's naked eye was unable to see it. Instead, one must use one's spiritual strength in order to sense it. The somewhat withered yellow grass around Xiao Yan's body began to lose its withered yellow color under the shine of this weak fluorescent glow. Buds quietly appeared, causing it to appear full of spirituality. At this moment, Xiao Yan was naturally unable to know about the changes around his body. With his spiritual strength spreading further, that blurry imprint grew. Xiao Yan's soul appeared to be a bath under warm sunlight in the face of the deepening searing imprint, causing him to feel an unusually potent feeling of comfort. The spreading of his spiritual strength continued for an unknown length of time. Suddenly it barged into an unknown place and abruptly shook. By the time Xiao Yan recovered, he discovered that his soul's sight could see an endlessly large dragon curled up on the ground. Both of its huge dragon's eyes were tightly shut. A kind of strange, purple-black flame lingered over its body. Xiao Yan's heart suddenly felt a familiar feeling when his spiritual strength saw the purple-black colored flame. A soft gasp immediately sounded within his soul. 3,000 burning flame? Who dares to peep into the star region of the Pill City? A stern cry suddenly sounded from deep within Xiao Yan's soul while he had gasped. This sudden, stern cry caused Xiao Yan's spreading spiritual strength to blast apart. Immediately, it quickly disappeared from this overcast star space. A kind of faint spirituality was vaguely left behind following the scattering of Xiao Yan's soul. It is actually a soul state spirit? A vague, mysterious voice sounded within empty space after appearing to have sensed the remnant spirituality of the soul. Xiao Yan, who had his eyes tightly shut in the distant Yi manor within the outer region of the Holy Pill City, suddenly opened them. His legs took 2 unsteady steps back. His expression was a little pale as he turned to the deepest regions of Holy Pill City. The place he had sensed the 3,000 burning flame earlier was definitely in that direction. Pill City Star Region. That place is where the 3,000 burning flame was sealed, huh?